Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we simulated the rest of the season, and we didn't make any changes for the second consecutive season to our roster. The main reason is because I kind of trust in our system, because we do have guys we could call up from the minors if we run into any troubles. And I think our team is good the way they are right now, and they assimilated really good during the regular season again, winning 50 games this year for, I think, the third straight season, maybe more than that even. But hopefully this time around we could get back to the Cup Finals, because we are going to be taking on the Minnesota Wild in the first round for the second consecutive season. Last year we took them on and we lost in 5 games, but I think this year might be a bit of a tougher team to play against, because I think they might have made some changes. I can't remember exactly what the roster looked like last year. But their team is 9-0-1 in their last 10 games, so that's pretty scary, and they almost caught us in the standings because we are in the same division. They finished 49-24-9, which is just behind us, who finished 50-24-8. So literally they had one overtime extra loss, and we had one more regulation win, basically, is the differential between these two teams. And it's probably going to be a pretty tough task, because they are a very solid defensive team, I'm pretty sure, and we're more of an offensive team. So should be interesting to see who could win this first round, and hopefully we could get some redemption for last year, because last year was pretty much a bummer year, because obviously we came off a Stanley Cup Finals appearance, and then we end up losing in the first round. So we want to definitely get our way back there, because we do have guys that their contracts are starting to end off in the next few seasons, and obviously I would like to win a cup before, like, Jacob Chikrin potentially leaves this team and all that type of thing. So anyways, I will show you guys the roster again before we get into this first round, because I am recording this today. You guys saw last episode as well, just because I really like getting into these playoff matchups as soon as possible. That way I could kind of see how the team does and whatnot. So let's take a look at what those Minnesota Wild look like, just in case you guys forget, and I kind of forget, to be honest, myself. So the top line is Kaprizov, Zetterberg, and Colborn. So I believe Colborn was like on their third line last year. I could be wrong with that. Maybe on their second line. I'm pretty sure he wasn't a first liner. But yeah, you can see they have a very good first line. The second line is also a very good complementary piece with Reimer. Eriksson Ek is in the lineup this year, where last year I'm pretty sure he was injured the entire round. So they do have better center depth because of that. They also have Kovanov, who was, I believe, their second line center last year. Third line, I have Galiev, who has actually X factors, which is pretty good. He's also a low elite player that they got in the second round, so that guy's a pretty good player. They have Yarncroc, and they have brought in Jaden Schwartz, I'm pretty sure, so a pretty good third line as well. And then that fourth line is incredible. Strome, Carlson, and Rossi. So you can see their forward core is definitely really good, and it might be as good as the Ottawa Senators when we played them in the Stanley Cup Finals a few years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually lost this round and Minnesota went on to win the Stanley Cup, because of how good this roster looks. Now on the defensive front, they have Hanifin and Barry, Korzak and Clegg, and then Brodin and Addison. So a little bit of a worse defensive core probably than us, but it is still a very solid defensive core to have behind a good offensive core like that. A little bit weak with Korzak, Addison, those type of things, but still they have really good complementary players. A lot of veterans on this team as well, which is interesting, so hopefully our younger guys can take advantage of that. And then they also have the superstar goalie in Connor Hellebuyck, which is going to be probably pretty tough to beat, because Connor Hellebuyck usually simulates pretty damn well in franchise mode. And in his playoff numbers last year, when they ended up beating us, they ended up getting all the way up to the conference finals, I think that is. Yeah, I think that's all the way to the conference finals last year. And yeah, he was really good in backstopping them to that conference finals appearance. So we definitely want to see if we could upset them somehow. And they also have Hunter Jones as a good backup. And they also have some solid depth. Like Liam Foudy has an 83 depth for it, is absolutely insane. They're also scratching Lambos, which is kind of a mistake because he is dropping due to morale, I would assume. And they also have Jake McCabe. So should be an interesting first round matchup, and hopefully we can manage to beat them this time around and get, like I said, redemption for last year. So let's get into this first round matchup, because we have home ice advantage, luckily enough. But I don't know if that will really play a factor in who wins the series or not. Just because I know from our Houston episode that you guys would have seen the day before this, that home ice doesn't really matter at all, and it can literally bounce around between who wins and who loses a lot. So let's get into game number 1 and see if we can take this one on home ice and take a 1-0 series lead if we can. Like I said, if we run into trouble, I might call up some people from the minors. First period, and it's scoreless. Okay, I'll take that for sure. Shots are 18-7, so Jeremy Swayman had a really good first period. So if Swayman really struggles, we could always turn to our younger backup goalie. But for right now, obviously, we're going to run Swayman, who kind of struggled in the last second half of the season, which was kind of weird. But hopefully he can play good in these playoffs. Second period, and we're down 2-0. I don't like that. Kaprizov and Schwartz, so a top liner and a third liner. The shots are 29-23 in favor of Minnesota, and we're down 2-0 going into the third. That's not a good sign. Let's see if our offense could wake up in this third period, or are we going to have to make maybe some line changes already going into the next game? Because our offense is not really keeping up with the Wild right now, because the Wild is too good. Galiev makes it 3-0. Yeah, we're going to lose game one badly. Not a great game. I mean, Swayman's been pretty good in this game still because we've faced over 40 shots in this game and he's only allowed 3 goals. But, yeah, that offense kind of needs to wake up a bit. No goals on 30 shots. I mean, the shot total is pretty solid, but the goal total obviously isn't. There's all 3 of their goals. Looks like mainly it was that that third line, and then their top line also got that 1 goal. Any really badly minus players in that game? Yup, oh man. That is not good to see. Farinacci and Genther were -3. Agostino was -2, so our top guns were out there a lot. Yeah, we might make some line changes, but Swayman was really good. A 929 save percentage, so no complaints from Swayman, but from everybody else, I'm not a huge fan of. Swayman actually got the third star of the game despite allowing 3 goals, which is pretty impressive. So I think I might make some line changes already, just because I feel like this Minnesota team is going to be really tough to beat, and we need to find a way to maximize our lines a bit. So let's make some line changes a little bit already. Let's take Genther off the top line and then move Shelley up, even though Shelley's not a really good fit for that top line. Just because Shelley, Agostino, and Farinacci, those 3 are my favorite players in the series probably. So I will reunite them. And then Sadikov has been pretty quiet, though, in like this season by comparison to last year. I could try and throw him into the top 6, which I think I'm going to. I don't want to demote Genther too much because he actually had a good season this year, but we're going to try that just for something drastic. And defensively, I think we're going to keep the rest of it the same. Yeah. Or maybe we'll split up Soderstrom and Chychrun again, because sometimes they are really bad defensively together. So let's move Dobson up, move Soderstrom to the second pairing. And I think that's all we're going to do for that. And then Swayman will still start, obviously, for next game because he was actually pretty solid. And we won't put in any of our depth options yet. Like I said, if we run into really bad trouble, we could always call up like Emil Schulz because he is a 79 overall. But he is playing in the AHL playoffs right now, so I don't really want to take away from that. But there is a lot of really good overall players down there in the minors in terms of the 70 overall players. Some of them will get into the NHL next season already, which means we might have to let go of some players this offseason if this team does not perform up to snuff. But, yeah, those are the only small little changes we're going to make. I might put Shelley onto the penalty kill if we lose this next game, because Shelley was a really good shorthanded player a few years ago, and he didn't get any shorthanded time this year, so his ice time is down a little bit. But, yeah, if we lose this game, maybe I'll put him on there just to see if we could get some more offense going from our shorthanded unit, which is kind of a risk, but it is a good thing to do in case. Let's get into game number 2 and see if we could rebound from that 3-0 loss, see if our offense could get going. First period, we're down 1-0. We have not scored in 4 straight periods. Connor Hellebuyck is out of his mind right now, as Reimer scores a power play goal. That's not good. Shots are 11 apiece, so we're kind of hanging in there, but we still have yet to score on Connor Hellebuyck, which is not good. If we could score on him, definitely we could win the series, but it's going to be probably pretty tough to score on him, I would assume. Second period, and we are down 2-0 again going into the third. It's another power play goal from Noah Hannafin. We have not scored a goal in 5 periods to start the series. This is so hard to win a Stanley Cup with Arizona because we were that close to beating Ottawa. Well, not really that close to beating Ottawa, but we were that close to winning a Stanley Cup a few years ago. We failed, and now we're running into a hot Minnesota team at the wrong time possible, especially. Shots are 29-17 now in favor of Minnesota, so they absolutely dominated that second period. But we're down 2-0 in this game going into the third period, and we probably will be down 2-0 in the series unless this team can start scoring some goals. Let's see what happens in this third period. Power play opportunity, come on guys, and we don't score on it. Power play again. Are we going to literally get shut out in back-to-back games to start this first round? And if it makes it 3-0, oh my god. Our offense is just gone. Lawrence scores the first goal in almost 6 periods. Thank you, Lawrence, for at least scoring. But we're down 2-0 headed into Minnesota, which means there is a chance that Minnesota could end up sweeping us, which would be even worse than last year, so that's not good. Lawrence from Geeky and Tukinen is our only goal of the series so far, and we're 2 games into this, so that's not too good. Hellebuck is out of his mind, though, right now. That Minnesota team is so deep and so good. Any really badly minus players in this game for us? Not really, a couple -1s, but once again, it's the same type of guys, Farinacci, Shelley, Agostino. So, I might move Farinacci, Shelley, and Agostino down to the second line since that's usually where they play really good, and then the other line will be the rest of those top 6 forwards. Another solid game from Swayman, I would say, but for the rest of the team, they really need to wake up offensively a little bit. Because 1 goal in 2 games, that is not what you want from an offensive team like us. Minnesota is definitely playing defensively minded, like they pretty much do the entire season. I think that's what they did at least. Let's go back into edit lines and make some more line changes, see if we could get something going. So I think we'll move Genther back up, but we are going to change Hayton to the top line, move Genther to the top line, and then maybe I'll actually keep Zadina down on that second line. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Farinacci and Shelley play on the second line with Zadina instead. And then this third line will go back to this, I think. I'm going to move Sadikov back to his normal wing, which is the left, because he shoots the left, and Ngiki can play on the right side. This fourth line has been okay defensively. Varlamov's actually plus, so that's good. And then defensively, Jake Gordon's -3 in 2 games. I don't like that. But I'm going to keep that the same. And then, yeah, Swayman's been pretty solid so far. No complaints from him. But if we lose the next game, maybe I'll take somebody out on, like, the fourth line or third line. I don't really know anybody that I want to scratch on this forward core. Like, Varlamov could be scratched, but he's not really that bad of a player. He's actually more offensively minded than some of these players. He doesn't really fit on that third line, though, I don't think. He's actually a good fit on that third line. It must be just somebody else like Lawrence kind of negating it a little bit. Or Sadikov's, yeah, not a good fit on that third line. He's a good fit on the second line, so do I move him up? Yeah, playing Zadina, though, on a third line is not really ideal. I mean, I could move him up and then put Genther back down to the third line. You know what, let's try something like that instead. Put Sadikov with Farinacci and Shelley, but then again, there's 2 really good goal scorers with Farinacci, and Farinacci's a good setup man, but he also scores a lot, so that might not be a good line to have. It might be a little bit too much shoot instead of pass, or pass shoot, I should say. But let's see if our team can get going here. We need to start scoring goals, obviously, if we want to win this series. So here we go. Game number 3, we shift to Minnesota. Let's see if our team can actually get 2 wins here on the road. Maybe this will be the type of series where the home team doesn't win. First period, and we're down 1-0 again. We've only got 1 goal in 7 periods. And I don't really know what the problem is with this team right now. Like, do we address our special teams and maybe that will help us? I don't know. Shots are 10-8 in favor of Minnesota. We have no goals in this first period once again, as Yarncrocs got the only goal. Second period, we're still down 1-0. We only have 1 goal in 8 periods now. If we could reverse sweep this team, though, that would be really amazing, but I don't really think this team is going to win the series, at least. It doesn't seem like it right now. Unless this team wakes up in the third period out of nowhere. Shots are 18 apiece. It's 1-0 for Minnesota. Hellebuck is literally playing like probably one of the best goalies of all time right now. Like, literally allowing 1 goal through 3 games almost is nuts. Zetterberg scores and it's 2-0 in, and Kovanov scores. We're going to get swept really, aren't we? Of course, Swayman has to have his worst period of the entire series, and we're going to be down 4-0 at the end of the game. And we're going to be down 3-0 at the end of the series, 3-0 going into Game 4 of the series, which is not good. Only scoring 1 goal in our first 3 games. Where is the offense that we are used to? Like, normally Shelley's a good goal scorer and stuff like that, but nobody has been doing anything. Like, the only goal is from Lawrence so far. And once again, our top guns are all badly minused in that game. This might be the type of series that that we need to make some drastic changes in, because Swayman was terrible that game, And then Pettersson came in and played good. So I think I'll play Pettersson next game. Swayman has been not terrible. But, yeah, Connor Hellebuyck is out of his mind right now. This is when I wish we had a really good goalie, but usually when you have a really good goalie, they end up not playing that good, especially unless they're on the opposite team. It seems like Blykov's been injured. Let's just go replace player. But we're down 0-3. We need to reverse sweep. We have 1 goal in 3 games. That is not good at all. So I think, what are we going to do here? I think I'm going to send Fortier down to the minors. And we're going to call up Schulz, and I'm going to throw Schulz in instead of Varlamov on that 4th line. It's a random change, but I think that's what we're going to be doing. So Schulz, you'll come up, and hopefully you could help us out here in the playoffs. Because we need to make some sort of random change like that, and we'll give Fortier the chance to play in the AHL playoffs if the AHL team is still there, which I really don't know if they are. A lot of the AHL players are sad that Schulz left, which is interesting. It means he's a good role model down there, I guess. But yeah, Fortier is like cooked because he's losing morale for being a depth option. But I am going to scratch Varlamov, I think. Or do I want to just scratch somebody else? I don't know. Or I could scratch McGillis. Does Schulz take face-offs? I didn't take a look at that. He kind of does. So Povliov doesn't really at all. So I think we'll put Schulz in at center and scratch McGillis maybe? I don't really want to scratch McGillis though. What could we do here? Yeah, I'm going to scratch Varlamov. It's kind of a weird one to scratch because he's a +1, which is probably one of the only players that are plus. But we are going to give Schulz an opportunity to play. Where does he fit well? The 4th line's the best fit for him, or the 2nd line. Let's try the 2nd line for him. And then we'll move Sadikov. Yeah, we can move Sadikov there. I might throw Geeky to center. Yeah, we're going to just try some random drastic changes. I don't like moving Lawrence down that much, but we might have to do it. And then let's try and get... what about Sadikov on the top line? No, that doesn't work. We just need to make some random drastic changes. I'm going back to Soderstrom and Chychrun again. And then we are going to Pettersson for next game, which kind of might be a risk considering we're down 0-3. But the rookie needs an opportunity to play in the playoffs. So we're down 0-3 in the series. We've only scored 1 goal in our first 3 games of this series, which is disgustingly gross. Might be the worst offensive team I've seen right now in the playoffs ever. I don't know how Hellebuyck's playing this good, but it's going to be really tough to win 4 straight against him and his team. So let's get into game number 4 and see if we could fight off elimination and actually score more than a goal. First period, we're down 1, or not down 1-0. We're scoreless after 1. So once again, we have barely scored a goal in this series at all. We have literally 1 goal through like, I don't even know how much periods at this point. 10 periods? Like, our offense is just not scoring. Our shots are 15-5 after 1, so that was a good first period for us getting chances. But Hellebuyck is literally just, like, locked in. And I can't even know what the reasoning is why he's so good. Because you think with, like, guys that could score, like Shelley, Sadikov, Farinacci, that these guys would be able to find the back of the net, but they just can't right now. Which means if we get swept, though, that maybe next year we'll win the Stanley Cup. But I keep saying that, and it doesn't happen, so... Second period, and we're up 1, or not up 1, we're tied at 1, okay. I'll take that. We have scored our 2nd goal of the series, so that is definitely a W right there. Shots are 31-15, no in our favor, but it's a 1-1 game. So Kovanov scored, Sadikov scores on the power play, so good to see Sadikov scoring, because we need definitely those snipers like Sadikov, Shelley, and whatnot to start scoring. So 31-15 in shots, it's a 1-1 game. Can we solve Hellebuyck more than once? That's probably something that can't be done, but we'll see if we could actually score another goal in this game. Because we haven't done that so far, and Zetterberg makes it 2-1. Are you kidding me? And Zetterberg makes it 3-1. We're going to get swept again in the first... Well, not swept again, but swept in the first round. Shelley scores to make it 3-2, okay. Our goal scorers are coming through at the right time, but we're still down, and Schneider scores his first playoff goal of this... yeah, I think it's his first ever playoff goal, and it's the 3-3 game, so... We have tripled our goal total here in Game 1, which is pretty nuts. or not game 1, not we're in game number 4. We've tripled our goal total from all our prior games, which is good. Shots are 41-25, but we have only scored 3 goals so far, but at least it's better than the last few games. Let's see if we can win an OT and stay alive another day. Come on, boys. Who wants to be that hero? And we're going to score. It's Baird Hayton. Okay. So we have fought off elimination once. Can we do it again? That's the question. The shots were 42-28 in favor of us after that game, and we win by 1 goal. But we managed to score 4 goals in a game, which is something I didn't think we were going to be able to do, especially with that start to the series. But now this could set up a potential comeback, because I feel like our team might start scoring more now. But if we could get back to a Game 7, that'd be incredible. So Sadikov, Genther, and Farinacci. Shelley from Schulz and Farinacci. Let's go Schulz, picking up an assist in his debut. I'd love to see that. And then Schneider from Chikrin and Sadikov. Hayton from Tracy, and Zadina as the game winner. So I think I'm going to keep Schulz in the lineup, considering he had an assist and he barely played. That's pretty nice to see. Where is he? Yeah, 1 assist, a +1. Had no shots on goal. And how much ice time did he play? 13 minutes. It's not too bad. Maybe Varlamov had power play time, and that's why he got a little bit more ice time. But there's the 3 stars: Zetterberg, Hayton, and Sadikov. Okay. So yeah, we're going to keep Schulz in. Maybe Schulz is exactly what this NHL team needed for this playoff run. We made some random drastic changes to our lineup, and hopefully that can continue going into a game number 5. I don't know if we start Pettersson or not. Or do we go back to Swayman? I think we should go back to Swayman, because Pettersson was good, but maybe Swayman is ready to go again. He was not too bad in the first few games. Pettersson wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great either. Goals against wise is a little bit high, but that save percentage is pretty good. So yeah, I think we're going to go to Swayman again for next game. And yeah, let's get back into another game. So those random line changes might have helped. Will it help us win another game and stay off elimination again? This episode is already a little bit long, but that's okay, I guess, because of the fact that we're trying to get back in the series, and hopefully we can get back to a Game 7. So here we go, game number 5. Can we stay alive again? We're on home ice again, so hopefully we could score here when we just did early. First period, 1-1 after 1. Okay, I'll take that, I guess. Geeky scores his first goal of the playoffs. Good to see him get on the board, considering he's usually not much of a playoff player. And actually, a few years ago, he didn't really score any goals in the playoffs, right? So it's good to see him score a goal. And Eriksson and Ekwood tied the game up, especially with them only having 6 shots. That's kind of scary. Shots are 17-6 in favor of us. It is a 1-1 game going into the second period. Second period, oh my god, we're down 4-2. Okay, this is pretty much it. We're going to lose in 5 games again, aren't we? Or are we going to have a third period comeback? Farinacci scores to give us a 2-1 lead, but Hannafin, Zetterberg, and Strome score. They have 4 goals on 13 shots. I don't know how they're scoring on that little amount of shots. We have 29 shots and only have 2 goals. We need a third period comeback, or else we are going to be taken out in 5 games just like last year, which is not good. Let's see what happens here in the third period, see if we can come back. This is not good. Sadikov scores to make it 4-3, but Yarncroc makes it 5-3 right away. Power play for them. We killed off, and Agostino makes it a 1-goal game on the power play. Let's go. Penalty kill. Come on, boys. We need 1 goal to tie this one up and stay alive. Come on, Kelvin Shelley or somebody. Agostino. And we're not going to score, and we lose 5-4. And we are taken out in 5 games again by the Minnesota Wild for the second straight year. They had 5 goals on 21 shots. This goal by Yarncroc ends the game. This is really problematic. I don't know what the problem is with this team. Like, is it just because I'm not making trades at the deadline that we're not going past the first round? Because it seems like when you make a trade at the trade deadline, it actually helps your chances of making the playoffs or making like the Stanley Cup Finals. I find. I don't know. I could be completely wrong with that, but yeah, we're out in 5 again. Geeky from Genther, Farinacci from Zadina and Dobson, Sadikov from Soderstrom and Geeky, and then Agostino from Soderstrom and Hayton. So it's good that we started scoring in those last 2 games, but it's really not good to see that our team is out in the first 5 games of a series again. And once again, top guns like Agostino really badly minus. Just not good. Oh, that was not good. Maybe it was not good to turn back to Swayman. I wonder if Pettersson would have done better than Swayman. Swayman was absolutely terrible. A 762 save percentage in a crucial game like that. I don't like it at all. Geekie got first star. That's impressive. Zetterberg second star and Soderstrom the third. And yeah, we dominated them in shots, 17-6 after 1, 12-7 in that second period, and 9-8 in the third, so it was a bit closer in the third. And face-off wise, we completely dominated them as well, 54-37, but we still lose the game. Hate that cheese. And Calvin Shelley was actually injured in that last game, which is not great either. But at least it's at the end of the season, so it's not going to matter to our simulation. But, oh, that was a really terrible series. Maybe even worse than last year to an extent, as we are another first-round exit of a team. Let's take a look at our player stats, even though they're probably pretty shit. Center-wise, Geekie was actually one of our best players in this series, which is kind of weird. Farinacci was solid, but -4. Hayton had 2 points and a -3. I don't like that from Hayton, especially with his contract being up this offseason. Genther, 2 points and no goals. Zadina had no goals and 2 points. Agostino was a -8 in 5 games. That is uncharacteristic of this guy, considering last year and the years before, he was pretty good. At least picking up a lot of points, but 1 goal only in a -8. Yikes. That power play was doing nothing. Lawrence had 1 goal and -2. Schultz was a +2 and had 1 assist in 2 games, so that's actually pretty impressive from him. Hopefully he can get into our lineup next season. Tracy was a -3, Varlamov was +1, McGillis wasn't that great. A lot of minus players on this team. And then, yeah, Shelley was dirt quiet, which is something that I wouldn't say normally. 1 goal on 17 shots, 5.9%. After having 47 goals in the regular season, you think he'd score more, but this team just really didn't. And then Sadikov, 3 points is not too bad. He had a better playoffs, I'd say, than regular season almost to an extent. But not really, I don't know. Defense, Soderstrom was good, -5 though. It's not good. Schneider had 1 goal, was plus. So Tukinen and Schneider were our best defensemen in terms of plus-minus. But our big boys like Samorukov, Dobson, Chikrin, and Soderstrom, all really badly minus. And then not to mention our goaltending from Swayman was absolutely horrific. He started off the series really solid, but once it went on, he just could not contend with that Minnesota team. Like, I don't know if it's Minnesota that is making him look really bad or he's looking really bad, but he just does not seem like to be a playoff goalie, or that's second half of the season, he just was not him same self. Like, he started the season off hot and then really just dropped off. So we might need to find another new goalie, or Pettersson actually will probably be our starter next year, considering he's an 82 now. So, interesting. Let me take a look at Minnesota stats because I'm kind of curious on that, even though this episode is going to probably be a bit long because of that. Yeah, they had a lot of points from a lot of their good guys. And Connor Hellebuck absolutely killed us. We actually played good against him in the last 2 games, but that 946 save percentage would have been probably like a 980 something if we didn't have those last 2 games where we scored goals. Like, he only allowed 9 goals in 5 games. Oh, that really sucks a lot. I expected more out of this team this year again, but hopefully we can get back in next year. And of course, we had to lose that game on April 25th, because if you guys know, that is my birthday, and I would be turning, I guess, 32 if it was 2028, which is kind of crazy. Oh well. Looks like our HL team got into the next round, which is good, but let's continue to simulate up until the draft and all that stuff to find out the awards. We'll get Bykov back in there. But some of these AHL guys might get into our lineup next year. Again, but we should probably make some trades and stuff like that, even though I really don't want to. Let's just go best lines in the NHL because that doesn't really matter. The AHL team's still playing, which is good. Is our AHL team going to win a Calder Cup this year? Even without Schultz in the lineup, because I could have sent Schultz back down, but they didn't. Looks like our AHL team is on to the finals, I think. And are they going to win? Yes, they are. So Tucson at least wins at the Calder Cup, so that's impressive. But we do lose to the Stanley Cup champion Minnesota Wild. So as I kind of said at the beginning of this episode, they are really similar to the Sens that we lost to in the finals. Well, Minnesota is your Cup champion. That is more of a dagger with them winning a Cup. But yeah, that team was really good. I give them props for setting up actually a solid looking roster, because normally AI teams don't look that good. Let's take a look at those awards, but it's good to see our AHL team win the Calder Cup at least. So Minnesota, the Cup champions, Winnipeg, the President's Trophy, and it was Minnesota and Florida in the Cup finals. Let me actually take a look at that playoff tree first, because I want to see what that looks like. So it went to 7 games in the finals. Interesting. But yeah, Minnesota went through a lot of good teams to win the Cup, including us, I guess I could say. Well, we weren't really a good team actually in the playoffs, but we were a good team in the regular season. So Cole Perfetti wins the Art Ross. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen him in an Art Ross before. Crosby wins the Hart Memorial at 40 years old. So Sid might retire with a Hart, which is interesting. Cale McCart wins the Norris, not a surprise. Crosby the Bing. Bonk wins the Calder. Eriksson Ek won this Conn Smythe, so he was just lights out the entire series. It's kind of surprising that Hellebuck didn't win it, so I guess Hellebuck didn't have good rounds after he played us, maybe. I'm not 100% sure with that. Vasilevsky wins the Vezina and the Jennings. Ryan Ellis wins the Bill Masterton. Drummond for Calgary wins the Jack Adams. Shane Wright wins the Selke. Don't think I'd ever seen that before. Crosby wins the Lindsay, and Mitchkov won the Maurice Richard. AHL-wise, let's take a look at those awards. So the best player in the playoffs for our AHL team was Jesper Wallstedt. So of course we dropped him down to the AHL because he wasn't good enough to be our backup. And then he ends up going on to win a Calder Cup and the best player in the playoffs down there. Interesting. No other awards for our minor league team. But I would quickly want to take a look at the player stats actually in the playoffs for our AHL team. Just run through this. So, wow, Ariel Ortmeyer really stepped up out of nowhere. He's a 73, but he does have the X factors. This guy put up 17 points in 22 playoff games. That's really impressive. Considering last year he had 3 points only. He really stepped it up this year. Ladipov also put up a lot of points, which is good to see. But looks like our team in the AHL really just scored a lot of points down there, which is good. Guerrero was pretty solid. That's one of the low leads we signed. Who was undrafted, and Gallagher, who was another one of those low elites, is still 75. Interesting. And then Wallstedt was out of his mind, 15-5-1, really good stats. 10-deck played terrible when he did play. Interesting. So that is that. Let's take a quick look at the draft lottery results, the retirements, and the contract situation, and all that type of stuff. Wrap up the season. So New Jersey's gonna have the first overall pick, followed by Washington, the Islanders, Dallas, and Vancouver. Interesting. And who is going to retire this season? I don't think we lost anybody because we don't really have anybody old. So Ovi finally retires, so that's a big retirement. Over 1,000 goals. Impressive. Crosby was second, so Crosby retires with a really good season. Both of them finished with the exact same amount of points. That's actually really cool. And way less games for Sid, but that's really impressive to see both of them finish with the same amount of points. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Kopitar, Marchand, a lot of other good players up there as well. Not going to go through them all. Nazem Kadri actually retired. We had him last year, but he dropped off a lot. Interesting. Let's take a look at our retirements if we have any, which are none. Let's take a look at goalie retirements for the entire league since we didn't do that yet. Fleury's the best goalie to retire, so some really big retirements this year, interestingly enough. So there we go. So those are the retirements for this season. And coach retirement-wise doesn't really matter because we don't lose coaches usually. And let's take a quick look at that draft class and then also the progress reports and contract situation, and that'll be it for this episode because we were running pretty late into this episode already. So we probably have like, I don't know, a 20-something overall pick. Teravainen might be decent, but there's definitely some forwards, some defensemen available, as there usually is around this stage. It's just about who is actually a really good one out of these. It looks like our scouts didn't do a good job, which kind of sucks. This guy might be a low elite. He looks decent. I'll pin him. 4 years as well. Might be at the low top 9. So there we go on that front. Let's take a quick look at the progress reports just to see if there's any good development. So Pettersson got a lot of growth, which is good to see considering he will be our starter next season probably. Shelley dropped back down to an 86, but he is listed as a second liner now. A lot of statistical growth from him. Looks like most of our team is statistical growth, which is not good because we don't like statistical growth because it's only usually temporary. And then in the minors, looks like that Rabbit guy is growing, which is good because he's elite. Dalmo's getting a lot of growth. Looks like we're getting a lot of growth in general from our players in the minors, which is always what you like to see. Any really good overalls? Varlamov's down to a 78 again. That's not good. He might not be really an NHL player. I don't know. Schultz is also a 78. Oh, Sasaki is up to a 75 at 20, so that low lead is going to be close to getting to the NHL soon, which is really good to see. And goalie-wise, Hornquist is up to a 68. Damn, this low lead goalie might be something. 68 at 20 is not too bad. He might be in the AHL next year, which means getting rid of Tendek, I think. Interesting. And finally, let's take a quick look at the contract situation just so you guys can see who is up for renewal. So Barrett Hayton's the big one. He's a UFA if we let him go. He wants $10 million, which is a lot of money. I don't really know if he's worth that. You guys could let me know on that front. Noah Dobson's up for renewal. He wants $5 million. It's a bit pricey, but it might be worth it considering he's somewhat solid. Sam Marukov's also up for renewal. It's kind of pricey. Tracy wants 2.3. That's not really much, so we might get Tracy back. Schneider's an RFA, so we could always just get him back. Clifton we might let go of. Sapolvyov is an RFA. We'll probably sign him back up again just as a good depth option. Schulz wants still a two-way. Interesting. Varlamov probably still wants two-way. No, he wants one-way. Interesting. And then, yeah, Sasaki will probably play in the AHL next year, which is cool. Swayman, I don't know if he'll come back. He wants 4.9. And then, yeah, that's pretty much that. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So it really sucks that we lost in the first round in the same amount of games to Minnesota. I really hope that this team could win a Stanley Cup soon because our window is not closing, but we really need to start winning when we have the opportunity to. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.